Have you ever wondered about the history of sourdough bread? Our story begins in ancient Egypt, over 5,000 years ago. This was a time when the Nile's fertile plains were the cradle of an advanced civilization, and bread, the staff of life, was a daily necessity. In the bustling bakeries of ancient Egypt, a culinary marvel was born out of necessity and serendipity. As they mixed flour with water, the ancient Egyptians discovered a transformative process: fermentation. Unbeknownst to them, the warm Egyptian air was filled with wild yeast and bacteria. As they settled into the dough, these microorganisms began a symbiotic relationship, feeding on the sugars in the flour and creating gas as a byproduct. The dough, in turn, rose and took on a life of its own. This was the birth of the first sourdough bread. It was not a product of meticulous planning or careful recipe development, but rather an accidental discovery that would change the world of baking forever. The wild yeast gave the bread a unique rise, while the bacteria lent a distinct sour taste, a flavor that was new and exciting to the ancient palate. This sourdough was different from the flatbreads that were commonly eaten at the time. It had a light, airy texture and a tangy taste that was both refreshing and satisfying. It was a hit amongst the people of ancient Egypt, quickly becoming a staple in their diet. Bread was not merely a food item in ancient Egypt, it was a symbol of sustenance and life. Sourdough, with its unique taste and texture, held a special place in the people's hearts and hearths. It was a testament to their ingenuity and adaptability, a culinary innovation that spoke volumes about their understanding of the natural world around them. And thus, the distinct sour taste we love was born in the heart of ancient Egypt. The humble beginnings of sourdough in these ancient bakeries would set the stage for a culinary journey that would span continents and millennia, forever changing the way we think about bread. As civilizations grew and interconnected, so did the secrets of sourdough. From the sun-drenched landscapes of ancient Egypt, the art of sourdough bread making began to traverse vast distances, crossing borders and cultures alike. The knowledge of this distinctive bread, with its signature tang and hearty texture, was carried along the bustling trade routes of the ancient world. It journeyed through the hands of merchants and explorers across the Mediterranean and into the heart of Europe. The spread of sourdough was not merely an exchange of culinary techniques, but a testament to the interconnectedness of ancient civilizations. It is a story of how food, like language and art, has the power to bridge cultures and forge connections amongst people. In the bustling markets of ancient Rome, Greeks and Phoenicians, sourdough began to make its mark. The Romans, renowned for their love of bread, quickly embraced this new arrival. Sourdough bread became a common sight in Roman bakeries, its distinctive taste and texture adding to the rich tapestry of Roman culinary tradition. But the story of sourdough's migration doesn't end there. As Europe's population expanded, so did the demand for bread. The rise of grain farming led to an increased availability of flour, setting the stage for sourdough to become a staple in the diets of many Europeans. From the tables of nobility to the humble homes of peasants, sourdough bread found its place in the heart of European cuisine. And while the ingredients were simple, just flour, water, and a little bit of patience, the impact of sourdough was far-reaching. It represented a shift in the way food was prepared, a move away from reliance on the whims of nature towards a more predictable and controllable process of fermentation. This was not just a culinary innovation, but a cultural revolution. The migration of sourdough to Europe was more than just the movement of a recipe from one place to another. It was the transfer of a culinary tradition, a gift from one civilization to another, shared through the universal language of food. This marked the beginning of a culinary transformation in European societies. In medieval Europe, sourdough became more than just a type of bread, it became a way of life. As society evolved, so did the culinary scene. The art of bread making spread across Europe, and sourdough found its way into the hearts and homes of many. As a daily staple, it was more than just sustenance. It represented a connection to nature, a mastery of craft, and a celebration of simplicity. But the rise of sourdough didn't happen in isolation. Monasteries played a critical role in this story. They were the epicenters of knowledge and skill, where monks honed the craft of bread making. They experimented with fermentation techniques, refined recipes, and shared their wisdom with communities far and wide. These religious institutions became the birthplaces of beloved baking traditions. This devotion to craft and quality transformed sourdough into a symbol of European culinary heritage. The unique flavors and textures of sourdough became synonymous with European baking traditions. It wasn't just a type of bread, it was a testament to a rich and enduring culinary legacy. The Renaissance period was a time of exploration and discovery, and sourdough was no exception. As the world opened up, so did the culinary arts. Bakers, no longer confined to traditional methods, began to experiment with different grains. Rye, barley, and oats each offered a unique flavor profile and texture to the sourdough, making it more diverse than ever before. But it wasn't just about the grains. The Renaissance was also a time of scientific discovery. As the understanding of biology increased, so did the knowledge of fermentation. Bakers started to manipulate the fermentation process, controlling the temperature and time to create a sourdough that was more consistent in taste and texture. This period was a true renaissance for sourdough, a time of rebirth and reinvention. The experimentation that took place during this era laid the groundwork for the sourdough we know and love today. This period saw a renaissance of sourdough, further enriching its diversity. With the advent of the Industrial Revolution, traditional bread making faced new challenges. As factories began to churn out bread in mass quantities, the art of baking was at risk of becoming a forgotten craft. The Industrial Revolution, with its mechanized production methods, brought about a radical shift in how food was produced. Bread, a staple of the human diet for millennia, was not immune to these changes. In the blink of an eye, the process of bread making was transformed from a slow, labor-intensive art to a quick mechanized process. The introduction of commercial yeast drastically reduced the time it took to make bread, pushing sourdough and its lengthy fermentation process to the sidelines. Mass-produced bread, uniform in size and lacking in flavor, began to fill the shelves of shops, and for a time it seemed that sourdough might become a relic of the past. But just as the phoenix rises from the ashes, sourdough too made a triumphant return. A dedicated community of artisan bakers committed to preserving traditional bread-making methods became the guardians of sourdough. These bakers, akin to culinary historians, recognized the unique qualities of sourdough that could not be replicated by mass production. They understood the magic of slow fermentation, the dance of wild yeast and bacteria that gave sourdough its distinctive taste and texture. Despite the convenience offered by industrialized bread making, these artisans chose to embrace the labor of love that is sourdough. They kept alive the techniques handed down through generations, kneading, shaping, and baking each loaf with care. Their dedication breathed new life into the ancient tradition of sourdough baking, sparking a renewed interest in this timeless craft. In the face of industrialization, the spirit of sourdough not only survived, but thrived. Artisan bakers' efforts to preserve the traditional methods of sourdough preparation have ensured its continued popularity. Today, we can still enjoy the rich, tangy flavors and hearty textures of sourdough, a testament to the resilience of tradition in a rapidly changing world. Despite these challenges, the spirit of sourdough survived, ensuring its continued popularity. Today, sourdough stands as a cherished part of our culinary heritage. As we fast forward to the world of modern baking, sourdough bread holds a special place in the hearts of many. Its distinct taste and texture, a testament to centuries of tradition and innovation, continue to captivate palates worldwide. In this era of convenience and fast food, the resurgence of sourdough is a heartwarming reminder of our enduring love for artisanal foods. Sourdough's renaissance is not just about nostalgia, though. It's about rediscovering the beauty of traditional baking techniques, the patience and care it takes to cultivate a vibrant sourdough starter, and the satisfaction of seeing a perfectly risen loaf fresh from the oven. It's about connecting with our roots, while at the same time pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the world of baking. Across the globe, a community of bakers and enthusiasts is keeping the tradition of sourdough alive. They're experimenting with different grains, exploring new fermentation techniques, and sharing their knowledge with others. This global network of sourdough lovers is not just preserving a culinary tradition, they're also driving it forward, ensuring that sourdough continues to evolve and surprise us. In bakeries and kitchens around the world, sourdough is more than just bread. It's a symbol of creativity and innovation, a canvas for culinary expression. Each loaf tells a story carrying the imprint of the baker's hand, the character of the local environment, and the vitality of the living starter. Through sourdough, we see how food can be a powerful medium for expressing our identity, our traditions, and our aspirations. It's a tangible link to our past, a delicious part of our present, and a promising signpost for our future. Sourdough, a symbol of both heritage and creativity, continues to inspire and delight us with its timeless appeal. The story of sourdough is the story of us, our history, our culture, our creativity. It's a story that continues to unfold, one loaf at a time. And what a tasty story it is!